Well, if it's all the same, Junior Pierce wasn't talking. Nope. He just sat there, looking out over the water, watching the ripples rise up by the cattails. All the while, the wind making a strange winnowing sound as it played through the osiers. Catching the angled light, it caused a general unrest in the middle of the lake. Holding a beer, old Phil scoffed. "Ain't no good time for fishing now. Them fish hate them tongues playing the waters like that. Spooks them into their dark hiding holes." "Well, why don't I just find their hiding places and bring 'em up shore?" Mike snapped back. You'd figure the two of them hated each other the way they would bicker back and forth. Truth was, they were friends forever. Mike saved old Phil's ass during the flood of '78. While the world was drowning, Mike dragged Phil's ponies up to high ground. Wasn't much to do for the barn but rebuild it. Them ponies grew up to be fine stallions thanks to Mike. Proud and strong. Like they knew they were something special. Wasn't really much of a wind if you were just standing there. However, at this time of year, the cold in the air gave it a sharp edge. The dusky light of autumn could sneak up on you from out of the forest, hide up behind the heavy evening clouds, then just disappear. "Here she comes now," Junior Pierce announced. The three men turned to watch distant headlights slowly approach from around the pines. It was obvious the driver was in no hurry tonight. The fire had mostly burned down, so Phil dropped in more driftwood, sending a flock of sparks escaping over the lake. The red Chevy crackled over the gravel as it made a wide turn to park alongside the other vehicles. There was an uneasy feeling built up. A feeling of being lost in the darkness of an immense void. Whistling, Mike shouted, "Come on, you old goat! You're late!" Phil poked around in the fire with a branch to get that wood set just right. The lights on the Chevy went out, and in the fading light you couldn't tell where the paint ended and the rust began. Handsome in profile, with a proud poise, out stepped a tall lady carrying a bag. Maybe it was a heavy door, or maybe she slammed it. One way or another, she did not look amused. As she approached, the wind parted her hair to reveal a taunt face. "Come on, let's go," Mike orders. She shot him an angry glance. "You've always been such an ass." She sat down between Pierce and Phil. They sat there silently, watching the evening ripen. Weren't much to talk about at a time like this. Their faces disappeared and rematerialized in the dancing light of the fading fire. The minutes added up to a pile of time and memories. "Remember when he found that knife?" "Yeah. Figured he'd come through." "Yep, he did." Twilight abandoned the sky as night took hold of the sky. She held a package on her lap and smiled. "Yeah, you could always count on that son of a gun." "What time is it?" "It's going on 11:45. "Remember that time with that dog?" "I forgot about that." "You love that half-baked mutt. Found it in the rain, you know." "And that next day it snowed 5 inches. That's how it was." "You figure after a while it would be all right." "I guess it turned out the way it was supposed to." In tired unison, they stood and made their way over chunky mud to the polished lake. The wind had died with the sun leaving the lake dead calm. She took out a tall jar from out of the package, held it a while contemplating it, then slowly tipped it, allowing ashes to fan out over the water. The ashes hesitated a moment, looked back at the woman and men, then drifted down into the dark depths of the lake. She closed her eyes, allowing the stars to bathe her face, then smiled a graceful, poetic smile, putting the stars to shame and drowning out their dazzle. One by one, they left the lake and went to their cars. Driving off into the night, their red taillights melting into the starscape, allowing the lake to fall peacefully asleep beneath the enormous sky.